What if everything you were taught about being good is the very thing holding you back because we were raised on a beautiful lie? From the time we could walk, they told us, be kind and the world will be kind to you. Do the right thing and you will be rewarded. Honesty will earn you respect. Loyalty will protect you. But let me ask you this, how many times have you done everything right only to be ignored? How many times have you stood by your values only to watch others less honest, less kind, more ruthless, rise faster, climb higher, and win louder? If your heart just clenched, if your memory just whispered the names of those moments, you are not alone. You felt the sting of doing the right thing and being punished for it. This is not weakness. It is not your fault. You were taught to play by rules that most people never agreed to follow, and that is the cruel paradox of goodness. Imagine this, you are standing in a crowded arena. You hold the flag of kindness high, believing it will protect you around you. Others move fast, cut corners, bend the truth, twist appearances to their advantage. You believe your honesty will be enough. They know your honesty makes you easy to read. You think loyalty will shield you. They know loyalty will make you hesitate. You stand still in your integrity, and they run circles around you. This is the harsh, uncomfortable reality that few dare to say aloud. Kindness alone is not enough to survive, not in business, not in politics, not in relationships, and definitely not in power. You feel it deep down, even if you've never wanted to admit it. And this is where Niccolo Machiavelli enters the conversation, the cold voice of realism in a world addicted to illusions. In The Prince, Machiavelli does not tell you to abandon your values. He tells you to stop walking into battles unarmed. He warns that morality without strategy is a trap. It makes you predictable. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you the easiest target in any room. So let me tell you something the world should have told you sooner. Being good is not wrong. Being only good is true power, lies in combining goodness with wisdom, in sharpening kindness into a tool, not leaving it exposed like an open wound. You do not stop being generous. You learn to give only what you can afford to lose. You do not stop being honest. You learn that not all truths must be spoken to all people at all times. You do not stop caring. You simply stop letting your care be exploited. There is a silent shift, a powerful awakening that happens when you realize you are never too soft. You are simply underdefended. The world does not reward purity alone. It rewards those who know the limits of purity and know how to protect it. You must build boundaries around your kindness. You must teach the world your heart is open, but guarded. Your door is unlocked, but watched. Your hand is outstretched, but not to just anyone. Music softens. This is the first step toward your transformation, the understanding that goodness is your foundation, but strategy must become your armor. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to stop being a pawn and start becoming the player, because the game has already begun? And the first rule is to stop believing that being good is enough. Machiavelli's realism on human nature. What if the people around you are not who you think they are? For generations, society has conditioned us to believe in the goodness of others. We are taught to assume good intentions, to trust that people will act out of principle, and to believe that right actions will naturally be rewarded. Yet reality offers a harsher lesson. Life experience reveals a truth that many refuse to say aloud. People are not always as they appear. You've lived it. The friend who vanished when you needed them most, the coworker who smiled while quietly sabotaging you, the loved one who promised forever but left when things became difficult. Betrayal, opportunism, and self-preservation. These are not rare exceptions. They are recurring patterns in human behavior. Niccolo Machiavelli, in his seminal work, The Prince, warned of this very deception. Unlike others who moralized about how humans should behave, Machiavelli described how they do behave. His words stripped away illusion and exposed the raw, often uncomfortable realities of human nature. According to Machiavelli, loyalty is fragile. Love is conditional, and trust is circumstantial. People act out of self-interest more often than out of principle. Not always from malice, but from a deep survival instinct that prioritizes personal gain. One of his most controversial conclusions still holds true today. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli did not advocate cruelty for its own sake. Instead, he recognized a universal law of human conduct. Love is voluntary and fleeting, easily withdrawn when it becomes inconvenient. Fear, by contrast, is consistent and demands respect, even in turbulent times. This wasn't written for kings alone. It applies to everyone who interacts with others, whether in personal relationships, business, or leadership. Machiavelli understood that those who rely solely on affection and loyalty will one day be left exposed. Leaders and individuals who balance kindness with strength, generosity with boundaries, and trust with caution will endure far longer. Here lies the sharp wisdom. Goodness is not the problem. Unguarded goodness is kindness without boundaries becomes weakness. Loyalty without discretion becomes a leash. Trust given too freely becomes a weapon turned against you. The answer is not to abandon morality, but to arm it. Awareness, discipline, and the realistic understanding of human imperfections act as your armor. You can remain good, but that goodness must be strategic. It must be aware of the risks. When you finally begin to see people as they are not, as you wish them to be, you gain something powerful, the ability to give without being exploited, to love without being deceived, and to lead without surrendering control. The greatest act of strength comes not from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. Machiavelli's realism offers liberation. Stop expecting fairness from an unfair world. Stop being repeatedly wounded by the same human weaknesses. Instead, anticipate them, prepare for them, accept them. Because that acceptance, as Machiavelli knew, is where your true power begins. Not through manipulation, but through calculated, intentional wisdom. It is the discipline to remain kind, but not naive, generous, but not reckless, trusting, but not blind, fear versus love. The hardest lesson of power. Since childhood, you were told that love conquers all, that kindness, empathy, and devotion would naturally bring loyalty and respect. You believed it because you wanted to. We all do. We want to live in a world where goodness is rewarded, but life rarely works that way. Think about it. How many times have you loved someone deeply only to have them walk away? How many times have you stood by someone out of loyalty only to find that loyalty unreciprocated? The pain of betrayal cuts deep because it feels personal. But Machiavelli knew better. He warned us 5 centuries ago, it's not personal, it's human nature. In The Prince, Machiavelli delivered one of the most controversial and misunderstood truths. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. What did he mean? Was he advocating tyranny? No. He was exposing a brutal psychological reality. Love is beautiful, but it is conditional. Love exists by choice, and as such, it can vanish the moment that choice no longer benefits the other person. Love requires loyalty, patience, and time, all rare commodities in moments of pressure and uncertainty. Fear, by contrast, commands behavior. Fear does not require affection or patience. Fear demands respect, even from those who dislike you. Fear does not disappear when things get hard. This is not about becoming cruel or ruthless. Machiavelli never advocated senseless violence or terror. His message was pragmatic: if your survival depends on the loyalty of others, love alone will betray you. He observed that rulers who based their authority purely on being loved were inevitably abandoned when their people's emotions shifted. A leader admired but not respected is replaceable. A leader who can command respect even under stress remains unshaken. You see this play out in life today. In business, the boss who tries to be everyone's friend is rarely taken seriously when hard decisions must be made. In relationships, the person who gives too much without boundaries is often the one who is left behind. In leadership, kindness without strength is mistaken for weakness. The lesson is uncomfortable but empowering. Do not depend on being liked. Depend on being respected. Respect holds firm when emotions fade. This does not mean abandoning love or compassion. It means learning to combine love with strength. It means knowing when to be warm and when to be distant, when to say yes and when to say no, when to offer kindness and when to hold the line. True power lies in the paradox. You can be deeply good, yet impossible to manipulate. You can be generous, yet unpredictable. You can lead with empathy, but still demand respect. Machiavelli teaches us that power does not require cruelty, but it does require calculation. Your goal is not to instill fear through harm, but to project an aura of inner discipline and authority that makes others think twice before taking advantage of you. So ask yourself, have you been focusing on being liked, hoping it would protect you, or are you ready to focus on commanding respect, knowing it will? That shift in mindset is the first step from being someone used to being someone who shapes the game goodness with strategy. The power of intelligent kindness. You were taught that kindness is the ultimate virtue, that giving freely, loving without condition, and trusting completely would protect you and bring you happiness. But then the real world taught you something colder. You gave, you trusted, you cared, and in return, you were used. You stayed loyal only to watch others climb over you to get ahead. You stayed honest only to watch lies win. That is the bitter sting of unguarded goodness. You are not weak, you were simply left unprotected. Niccolo Machiavelli, with the clarity of a surgeon, understood the trap. In The Prince, he warns goodness without strategy is a weakness, not a virtue. It makes you predictable. It makes you easy to manipulate. It makes you a perfect target for those who see your compassion as an opportunity for exploitation. But Machiavelli never told you to abandon kindness. His genius was showing how to weaponize it. This is the essence of intelligent kindness. You remain good, but you become selective. You stay generous, but you understand the limits. You offer warmth, but only after others prove they deserve it. You do not stop giving. You simply give in ways that protect your peace. You do not stop caring. You simply care with discernment. The mistake of good people is thinking that morality alone will earn respect. It doesn't. What earns respect is morality backed by boundaries, Machiavelli advises. Smile, but do not trust everyone. You can speak truth, but not the full truth. You can be helpful, but never at your own expense. You can stand for others, but not at the cost of losing yourself. This is the balance the world never taught you. You were either told to be soft or to become cold. The path of the strategist is neither. It is to be soft when it serves you and hard when it protects you. The true master of kindness knows when to give and when to withhold, when to show loyalty and when to test it, when to open the door and when to close it. Intelligent kindness is not passive. It watches people closely. It listens more than it speaks. It does not rush to trust. It requires others to earn it. There is a strange power in becoming unreadable. When people cannot predict your next move, they hesitate. In that hesitation, you gain control. When you stop over-explaining yourself, you deny manipulators the information they crave. When you limit your availability, you increase your value. This is not cruelty. It is wisdom. It is survival. You are still good, but now you are also guarded. You still give, but only in ways that cannot destroy you. You still trust, but only after testing. The world does not reward blind purity. It rewards those who know the limits of purity and know how to protect it. So I ask you, are you ready to evolve? Are you ready to stop giving away everything for nothing in return? Are you ready to lead with your heart, but shield it with your mind? This is the path of intelligent kindness. This is how you remain yourself and still survive the game. Perception over reality. The unseen weapon of power. We like to believe the truth speaks for itself. That skill will be recognized. That honesty will shine brighter than deception. That hard work will eventually outpace shortcuts. But look around you. Is that what you see? How many incompetent people do you know who have risen faster than those who were more qualified? How many loud, confident manipulators have claimed leadership positions, while quieter, more capable people stayed invisible? This is the harsh, unspoken law of the world. Reality matters less than perception. Niccolo Machiavelli saw this before modern psychology ever caught up. In The Prince, he revealed the brutal wisdom few want to hear. People don't follow truth, they follow appearances. A strong person who appears soft will be taken for granted. A weak person who projects power will be treated with respect. It isn't fair. It isn't moral, but it is real. You can be the most honest, talented, generous person in any room. But if you don't project authority, you will be ignored. If you don't master your image, you will be dismissed. If you don't control how people see you, they will assign you a role you never agreed to play. Machiavelli did not call this deception. He called it strategy, and you must learn to play the game. This does not mean becoming fake. It means understanding that every move you make sends a signal. Every word, every silence, every glance is either building your image or eroding it. The common mistake of good people is overexposure. You believe that sharing everything proves honesty. You believe that transparency is integrity. But Machiavelli warns the prince must learn to conceal his intentions. Why? Because once people can predict you, they can control you. They can prepare for you. They can exploit you. The goal is not to lie. The goal is to withhold just enough to remain unpredictable. You do not owe explanations to people who have not earned them. You do not have to justify every decision. You do not have to explain your emotions to those who would weaponize them. There is enormous power in mystery. When people do not know what you're thinking, they hesitate, they wonder, they tread carefully around you. And in that hesitation, you gain the upper hand. The loud, oversharing, emotionally transparent person gets attention, but rarely gets power. The strategist moves silently, speaks rarely, and acts decisively. The strategist knows perception is the armor that protects the truth. So ask yourself, are you trying to be liked? Are you trying to be respected? Are you trying to be seen as nice or as powerful? You can be both good and respected, but only if you stop assuming your goodness is enough. You must command the way you are perceived, because in the end, the world does not react to who you truly are. The world reacts to who it believes you are. Master that belief. And you master the game. Control your emotions, the silent fortress of power. There is a reason most people never rise to true power. It isn't lack of talent. It isn't lack of opportunity. It's lack of emotional control. We are taught to express everything we feel, to speak openly, react quickly, and share our pain with the world. But Machiavelli warned us centuries ago, a leader must operate with cold precision. Not because leaders are heartless, not because they lack emotion, but because they refuse to be ruled by emotion. You've seen it happen. Someone says the wrong thing and another person explodes. A petty insult ruins someone's entire day. A manipulator pushes the right button and gains total control. In that moment, the one reacting is no longer in charge. The puppet strings are visible. The person who can provoke you owns you. Machiavelli understood this psychological trap better than anyone. The leader who cannot control their emotions is weak. No matter how loud or aggressive they seem, the true strategist becomes a fortress, unshakable, unpredictable, untouchable. When you control your emotions, you stop reacting and start directing. You hold the frame, you define the energy in the room, you create an aura that others cannot penetrate. Calmness is not a passive trait, it is an active weapon. It is a silent declaration of power. The loudest person in the room rarely holds real influence. The calmest person, the one who can sit in discomfort, who does not flinch, who pauses before speaking, becomes the center of gravity. Others orbit them. Others adapt to their pace. Others fear what they do not understand. You must train yourself to remain composed under pressure, not just when things are easy, but when they are falling apart. When insulted, pause. When provoked, observe. When attacked, think. This does not mean suppressing who you are. It means mastering who you are. The one who cannot be provoked cannot be played. And in that mastery, you find freedom. You are no longer dragged by fear, guilt, anger, or insecurity. You become sovereign. You move through chaos untouched while others lose themselves. Machiavelli would remind you, you cannot control others until you first control yourself. So ask yourself, how often have you surrendered your power by overreacting? How often have you handed control to someone simply because they got under your skin? The next time you feel the urge to lash out, remember this. Stillness is strategy. Silence is leverage. Patience is dominance. Stay calm, and people will wonder what you are thinking. Stay calm, and they will hesitate to push further. Stay calm and you win without even raising your voice. Because in the end, the world does not respect those who are easily read. It respects those who can speak softly, yet make the room stop breathing when they do. Master your emotions. Master the game. Mystery as leverage, the art of unreadability. In a world where everyone overshares, mystery has become the rarest form of power. We live in the age of constant updates, endless opinions, instant reactions. People narrate their every thought, expose their every emotion, and believe transparency equals strength. But Niccolo Machiavelli warned, the prince must learn to conceal his intentions, not to deceive but to protect, because once people know exactly how you will think, react, and move, they can control you. You become predictable, and predictability is the beginning of vulnerability. The greatest strategists have always understood this. The less you reveal, the harder you are to read. The harder you are to read, the more people hesitate. In that hesitation, you gain control. Imagine two leaders walk into a room. One speaks too much, explains too much, reveals every plan, and justifies every decision. The other says little. Their words are deliberate, their face unreadable. Guess who commands more respect? The quiet one, the unknown one, the one others cannot figure out. Because mystery forces others to fill the silence with their own doubts and assumptions, they overthink, they second guess, they tread lightly, and all the while you remain untouched, unbothered, in control. This is the art of strategic silence, not passive silence born from insecurity, but calculated silence born from power. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to answer every question. You don't have to reveal your plans to those who haven't earned your trust. The world tells you to be open and transparent, but openness without discernment invites invasion. Transparency without limits invites exploitation. You must learn to stop narrating your every move. Stop giving away your emotions to people who only want to use them. Stop letting anyone feel they completely understand you. When people can't predict you, they hesitate. When they hesitate, you gain precious time. Time to observe, time to calculate, time to decide your next move without pressure. This is not manipulation. This is mastery. This is playing the long game in a world obsessed with instant gratification. There is elegance in being mysterious. You become the one who sets the tempo. You become the one who watches, waits, and acts with precision. You become the one who is remembered not for what you said, but for what you didn't say. So ask yourself, are you too easy to read? Do people always know what you're thinking, what you'll do, what you'll tolerate? If so, it's time to pull back. Speak less, observe more, become a question that others cannot answer. Because once you are unreadable, you stop being a player on someone else's board. You become the one moving the pieces. Master the art of mystery. Master the leverage of silence. Master the game. Selective presence. The power of scarcity. There is an ancient law that few understand, but the wise have mastered what is always available, loses its value. We live in a world of constant accessibility, always online, always responding, always showing up for others. And what happens? You become expected, not respected. You become ordinary, not extraordinary. Machiavelli understood the psychology of scarcity. In The Prince, he advised rulers not to be too accessible, not out of arrogance, but out of strategy. Familiarity breeds contempt, he warned. This lesson applies to you. The more you make yourself available to everyone at every moment, the more invisible you become. The more you say yes, the less your yes means. The more you give without limit, the more you are seen as a resource, not a person. You've felt this before, the friend who only calls when they need something, the coworker who only notices you when a favor is required, the family member who assumes you will always be there, no matter the cost to you. It drains you, it empties you, and worst of all, it diminishes you. Machiavelli offers a different way. Selective presence. This is the art of appearing with purpose, not out of habit, of showing up when it matters and retreating when it does not, of controlling your availability so that your presence becomes a signal of importance, not an expectation. When you master selective presence, you shift the dynamic. People no longer assume they can have unlimited access to you. They recognize that when you do appear, it means something. You are no longer background noise. You are the signal. This is not about playing cruel games. This is about protecting your energy, your time, your mental space. Be generous with your heart, but guard your time like a fortress. Ask yourself, how often do you say yes out of guilt? How often do you overextend yourself trying to please everyone? How often have you ignored your own needs just to be available? You cannot lead, create, or thrive if you are constantly depleted. You must create distance, not to punish, but to build value. Distance is what makes your presence powerful. Presence only matters when it follows absence. Disappear when you must rebuild. Withdraw when you must reflect. Retreat when you must reclaim your strength. And then when you choose to return, return with force. Let your reappearance be felt. Let your words carry weight because they are rare. Scarcity creates value. Value creates respect. Respect creates power. So I challenge you. Stop giving your energy away for free. Stop being endlessly accessible. Start becoming intentional about where, when, and with whom you appear. Because the one who controls their presence controls the room. And the one who controls the room controls the game. Strategic stillness, the hidden strength of delayed response. In a world that rewards speed, impulsiveness has become a weakness disguised as confidence. We are pushed to respond instantly, to reply immediately, to react without thinking. But Machiavelli, the master observer of human behavior, knew the danger in this. The prince must observe, calculate, and only strike when necessary. This is the lost art of strategic stillness. Think back. How many times have you reacted too quickly and regretted it? How many times have your emotions dictated your actions only for you to realize too late that you had handed over your power? Machiavelli teaches you to resist this trap. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is a weapon. The most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest. It is the one who waits, the one who pauses before speaking, the one who does not rush to defend themselves, the one who allows others to overexpose themselves first. In your silence, others reveal their plans. In your patience, others make mistakes. In your restraint, others underestimate you. You no longer play the game on their terms. You quietly take control of the board. Every reaction is a revelation. The more you speak, the more you reveal. The more predictable you are, the more vulnerable you become. But when you practice restraint, you shift from being a participant to becoming the architect of the moment. You hold the frame, you dictate the tempo. You let others waste their energy trying to pull you off balance. While you remain unmoved, it requires discipline. It requires the courage to let silence speak louder than words. But when you master it, you become a force others cannot manipulate. The insult comes, you do not respond. The challenge arrives, you do not flinch. The provocation is laid before you. You simply observe others spiral. You stay grounded. The room begins to tilt toward you. People start leaning in, wondering what you are thinking. They begin to respect your composure, even fear it. This is not about coldness, it's about choice. You choose when to act, when to speak, and when to wait. Machiavelli would tell you, control is not just about action, it is about timing. So ask yourself, are you reacting or are you calculating? Are you being pulled into battles that are not yours to fight? Or are you holding your ground, letting others reveal themselves while you remain a mystery? The strategist does not waste energy proving their worth to everyone. The strategist knows every unnecessary word, every emotional outburst, every rushed decision drains power. Stop playing at their pace. Move at your own. Hold steady when they expect you to panic. Smile when they expect you to explode. Vanish when they expect you to stay. Return when they least expect you. Because the one who moves last moves best, and the one who owns their stillness owns the game. Guarded kindness as power. The balance between compassion and control. You were told that being kind was enough, that by loving openly, giving freely, and trusting completely, you would be protected. But life taught you a crueler truth. Unguarded kindness becomes a weapon in the hands of manipulators. You gave without limits, and they took. You trusted without filters, and they betrayed. You stayed loyal to people who never earned it. You were not wrong for being good. You were wrong for believing goodness alone was protection. Machiavelli saw this flaw in human behavior with cold clarity. In The Prince, he never dismissed kindness. He warned that kindness must be paired with discernment. The prince must test relationships, not assume them. This is the foundation of guarded kindness. You do not abandon your compassion. You refine it. You apply standards to it. You become intentional about who deserves your generosity. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Not everyone who flatters you is loyal. Predators rarely show their teeth at first. They wear charm as camouflage. Your job as a strategist is to watch closely. Observe how people treat others when they have nothing to gain. Observe how they behave when no one is watching. Observe how they act when they believe you cannot help them. Do not confuse politeness with loyalty. Do not confuse shared words with shared values. Test before trusting. Watch before giving, discern before embracing. Guarded kindness does not mean coldness. It means being generous, but with boundaries. It means being open, but not exposed. It means loving, but not at the cost of losing yourself. Machiavelli knew unlimited access leads to disrespect. When you are always available, always giving, always forgiving, people begin to take you for granted. They stop seeing your kindness as a gift. They start seeing it as something owed to them. You must teach the world to value your energy, to understand that your kindness is rare, not endless, to know that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. So ask yourself, how many times have you overextended for people who would never do the same for you? How many times have you poured your heart into those who only drained it? It ends now. You remain good, but you become guarded. You remain kind, but you become selective. You remain compassionate, but you become untouchable. You give, but never more than you can afford to lose. You offer trust, but only after others prove worthy of it. You extend loyalty, but only to those who have earned it through their actions. This is the new code of power. Kindness with vigilance, compassion with boundaries, generosity with discernment. Because kindness without defense is vulnerability, but kindness with defense is sovereignty. Master this and you will no longer be the background character in someone else's agenda. You will become the author of your own story. A person of warmth, yet a person they dare not underestimate. This is not manipulation. This is mastery. This is how you remain good and still win. In a world that often confuses kindness with weakness, the greatest lesson you can learn is this: be kind, but never be unguarded. Machiavelli's wisdom teaches us that goodness without strategy is a dangerous illusion. People are complex, unpredictable, and driven by self-interest. If you want to thrive, you must combine compassion with discernment. First, understand that you don't owe everyone your trust. Relationships must be tested, not assumed. Pay attention to how people treat others when they have nothing to gain. Their actions, not their words, reveal their true character. Second, control your presence. Stop being endlessly available. Scarcity creates value. Learn to say no without guilt. When you protect your time and energy, you signal that your presence is earned, not expected. Third, master your emotions. The person who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. Stay calm when others push your buttons. Silence, stillness, and patience are powerful weapons. They give you leverage while others reveal their weaknesses. Finally, embrace the art of mystery. Stop over-explaining. You do not have to narrate your every move or justify your decisions to people who haven't earned that right. Unreadability creates respect and hesitation, both of which shift the power dynamic in your favor. By combining kindness with boundaries, generosity with standards, and trust with caution, you become unshakable. You can remain good and still win.